The Ghostbusters are back, and the tested team was back on set to embed in the production of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. In theaters now.
Eve, tell me where we are in space here.
So we are in the entrance corridor to the old abandoned aquarium.
And this is where Zeddemore's lab is.
This is where Zeddemore set up because it had a really good infrastructure for what they needed.
So unlike the firehouse, where you really had to follow some canon material that was laid before you, this comes out of whole cloth.
This comes out of my head. Well, we saw a really brilliant exterior on Staten Island, a round building, which Gil and I, well, mainly Gil fell in love with, and then I really bought into. So I just imagined what the inside looked like.
And so this tile was part of the picture from the beginning?
This tile, no. This tile, I did loads of research on abandoned aquariums, and I found an amazing one from the 30s in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And they had these incredible glazed tiles. And so I embraced that completely. And then after that, I was looking at other aquariums, and I found these in Berlin Zoo.
This is just like, this immediately tells you where you are. You know you're in an aquarium.
In Berlin Zoo, I saw these for real on the walls, and they look at lots of different creatures. So we had these made. We've got an amazing sculptor lady who had to work with the curve of the wall.
Amazing. Also, you had to have these tiles custom made. You had to have this, I mean, because I noticed that it's sort of stitched together, but it must have been a process to make this much.
These ones are a real process, and what's been amazing, because obviously you're on a budget and time, and the plasterers, again, together with the painters, are just genius, the ones I work with. So these look like really, really well-glazed ceramic tiles, but they're not. They're just plaster with layers of paint. But you must look up, because there's a really exciting graffitied narwhal.
I love him. I feel like I recognize this tusk. Is this from one of those dinosaur bone places that sells the...
This is from one of those, but it was, to fit in the curved corridor, was 1 meter too long. So the poor narwhal, we just had to shove it in his nose.
You just made it shorter. The compromises. All right, shall we step in?
Yeah, lead on.
I feel a little bit of a Jurassic Park vibe in here, just a tiny bit. Is that on purpose?
I think maybe, yeah, I think there is. But it's definitely the Ghostbuster vibe in that the tech is very kind of approachable and human and amenable. It's not like you're going into CSI or Star Wars or anything.
Where everything's super antiseptic. No, this is lived-in tech.
These are people trying to work things out and use tape and old bits of wire to try and understand why these things are possessed.
And even still, with all of the cacophony of tech around each station, it's really clear that each station does different things. Is that, you allocated that,
That
right?
was really important. And I think reading Dan Aykroyd's stuff and all about ghosts and possession, and I read everything. And then I got really into how you actually, if you're a ghost hunter, really get into finding out things.
Can we look at the station? I feel like I see research that is happening here.
Yeah, so we've attached all these wires to different liquids to find out, with the osmosis that the plant's doing and the chlorophyll and moving through its cells, what's happening. Is it every cell is possessed, or is it the whole leaf?
Oh,
I'm trying to work that out.
Right. And then what's happening? Let's go over here to the musical instruments. I'm totally fascinated by this. Trying to find tones that ghosts don't like?
No, if you look up what happens when real ghost hunters are on the trail of a ghost, they definitely listen to sounds and sound vibrations and waves of sound. So we were trying to think how to express this with a cello, and then I just thought the heart monitor pads made me really laugh.
The smile on your face is everything I need to know. And this is a possessed teddy bear, other possessed toys?
These are things where the ghosts have left them, so they're kind of just put into a case for kind of in case they get possessed again, but they've been, they're generally empty of ghosts now.
This part is really exciting to me. This is the basement, these are the upgraded containment units.
They are, they're more industrial, but this was brilliant because this is showing how adaptable we were, because we did have it and it was much straighter on the wall and it didn't look great. It looked a bit boring and it was filling up too much wall. And then we suddenly, with Gil, we came in and I went, what if we just chop it in half? And then he went, turn it round the corner. And suddenly it all came to life. And then we were running outside and finding bits of pipe and handles. And I think the joy of it is it became a kind of collaborative event, trying to create something that worked.
I love that. So you could still walk on a set where tons of construction has happened and be like, it's not gelling.
It's not working.
It's
not working. And then we would go, we got a spare fan. Quick, put one up there.
Right.
Get a wire. No, it was really fun.
Also, the way the red brings it out from the wall is really lovely.
Well, we wanted to use the iconic red of the original containment unit. But these ones have massive more trap holders.
Oh!
So you can put, you can get loads in there.
No!
Packet full of ghosts.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. These doors are incredible.
That one won't open.
I see. And then these...
yeah. Oh. And then the lights go like the original, the green to red.
Lights goes green.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this cabinet here?
Of course.
I just love this. So, tell me what happens in here.
Well, this is it's a containment unit where all the mini puffs who have kind of gone off their heads are stored now. And what I did is I looked at a laboratory, keeping creatures. That's terrible. But I looked at those, and often you get these kind of turning discs. So we found one of these in a cake store. Found this, and then we've done loads of illustrations where the mini puffs have gone completely bananas, and then sort of reenacting medieval torture on each other with lab equipment. So it's like a Bruegel of the 21st century.
I love the casual comedy of how destructive they are to each other.
It's like immense, and their imagination is extraordinary.
Right, they're very clever.
They're very inventive.
Like dumbly destructive.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. All right, now, Eve, I suspect these matter to the plot of this movie. What are these two? They look like go-go booths, to be honest. What are they for?
These are so essential, and these took ages to work out. It was really good actually working with Gil. We really worked well together on this. So this is known as the ionic separator. So you either put in an item or a person or whatever's been possessed by a ghost, in they go, shut it down, turn it on via the controls.
All right.
The top spins and lights shine down, and then the ghost is sucked out, goes through this pipe which wiggles with the power of the ghost.
And it's all practical.
It's all on fishy words, as you can see. So it's two blokes going on. And then into here comes the ghost.
wands.
The ghost wafts about, a bit sad.
Yeah.
And then is shot by the proton wands, trapped, sucked out, into here, get the trap, take it to the containment unit.
So this is an entire ecosystem about dealing with ghosts that you guys had to design.
It's a whole ecosystem, but also that's why it's this lovely colour, because I felt it's all about industrial agricultural.
Right.
Very machine-like of an old age. So I just love the colour.
Well, and it's a great contrast to the red of the containment unit, because there's a lot of red in this yellow too.
Yeah, and often the ghosts are kind of bluey, so I just thought the yellow's a real good contrast. We're in an abandoned aquarium. I love that this feels like the jellyfish exhibit at the Monterey Aquarium.
That
they've had to use, they kind of repurpose things. And very repair shop in here.
So how long did you and Gil work on these pieces to get to the finished product?
We probably went about a month, and then we kind of did some adaptation. But I think we were both of the minds of this, of the right shapes from quite early on. And we've got loads of original sketches from me and him in a big book. So
fantastic. And then the practical effects team your set designers are building, your set guys are building stuff, and then effects are also adding a bunch of stuff to it.
This is a real process. So we'll draw it. I'll draw the sketches with Gil and we'll approve all the colours and the look. You also, if you're working with a studio, you have to send it up the ladder to get it signed off. So they really loved it and they've been very supportive. So got it all signed off. Then the prop makers worked with construction to make that. And then we came back via effects, because obviously the doors have to move.
Right, so this wasn't a piece of equipment you bought. You guys built this functionality.
And any time something moves, especially near an actor, special effects have to do it. Work with stunts as well to check that we can get someone in there. then special effects and model maker worked completely together to get this to twizzle around, etc.
So this is like a dance between all sorts
yeah.
of multiple departments.
Yeah.
I would imagine there are films that might be an easier or harder prospect. But I'm getting the feeling walking around these sets that it's pretty easy here.
It was pretty easy, apart from we had a short time to do this at the end, and then it was probably fractious for a day. But then we got over it.
Eve, I love this part of Zeddemore's lab set so much because as soon as I stepped here, I understood I was in the middle of a museum, right? Like, and I was thinking about the theatricality of the dioramas in museums and hallways like this. And I didn't know they could be typified so perfectly, but this is like my childhood.
This is like every single aquarium or zoo or museum you've seen since you were a kid. And
yes.
I had so much fun deciding where to put rocks in them and the little signs aren't lit up, but this is where I imagine the terrapins were, or the starfish over there. And yeah, I think it's you can see what it was.
And the tunnel effect of the tiling on the ceiling it's just so perfect. It feels like of a period. It feels decades ago.
Yeah, and I think that really helped because the glazing, the amazing color really showed off all the lights and the tech that Zeddemore Industries have put in.
So let's talk about what they've put in. Why is there a living room in a former fish tank here?
Well, this is actually, we decided to make it, this is where Possessor is kept within the tank. And Possessor is a ghost that obviously possessed inanimate objects. So we decided that we should put a kind of an homage to an American living room.
A place they would be comfortable.
That they would be comfortable, and that's where their usual environment is. So we were talking with Gil, and I really love Crewdson, the American photographer. So we based it on that. And what happens is Possessor is getting in the Hoover, and he's like leaping from artifact to artifact, and eventually has some action trying to
Clearly. I have there's an ancient technique for making broken glass of taking strips of tinsel and taping them behind the glass with Scotch tape. You should try it. It's
I'm going to try it.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, because they just hit this one.
Yeah, no, clearly. Which totally works. So Zeddemore's, all these tanks are empty and he's repurposing each one. That's the theory
different
here.
ghosts. So Possessor is in here. Phosphor is in here, it's floating about. It looks really great against all these rocks. And then as we move down into this tank, where the lionfish used to be, this is where Pukey, the sticking up ghost, is. As you can see, evidence of a large amount of
I also love you've got lichen, as if the water level sat here for a while.
for ages, when it went rotten and slightly got abandoned.
Is that something that came from looking at pictures of abandoned aquariums?
Definitely. There's some amazing ones in Japan.
There's the scenic work on the back of that is so perfect. There's nothing that doesn't look like a rusty, moldy, abandoned, ignored wall.
I think you can kind of smell the mildew.
You really can. You really can. Is there some part of this hallway that you are particularly fond of?
I just, like you, I really love the vaulted barrel ceiling, and I just think that definitely came from my looking at the Baltimore aquarium. But in that one, it went on for miles. It must have been spectacular.
Oh my God, I imagine it must have been. Okay, so who goes here?
That is currently vacant.
Oh, okay.
But what I love about it, when it's lit properly, is your eye is taken because it's of an orangey hue. So your eye comes down from the aqueous green.
So every color in every space has been chosen
important.
to be part of the narrative.
Yeah. Do a lot of painting, so I'm very strict on color.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and your drawings are always about color.
Yeah, very vibrant and kind of, I love the luminosity that you can get in cinema.
It's such a beautiful set.
Thank you.
I keep saying that, but it's really true.
This is the one we had the most fun because we had to make the firehouse and obviously had fun with it, but we were replicating. This one we could really go mad.
You could cut loose.
Yeah.
That's super fun. I mean, and really, it is such a unique. I was picturing it in my head, but it was way incomplete when I was reading the script. And coming in here, it's like, wow, it's here.
Oh, I'm pleased.